I ran a team of 2,000 developers, and I still can't write a single line of code. Last week, I built a full website, a YouTube analytics dashboard, and automated my entire business. I didn't hire anyone. I just talked to Claude AI, and Claude did everything. This is the Claude AI tutorial nobody is making, because most people don't know this is even possible. We're not talking about chatting. We're talking about AI for non-programmers who want to build real things. I'm not a developer. I'm not technical. I'm a product manager who learned to speak Claude's language. And I used a Claude API key to connect it to my YouTube, my CRM, my website, all of it. No code, no agency, no Wix, nothing. Most people think you need to code to use AI at a serious level. They have no idea that's already obsolete. You either figure out how to run Claude AI without coding like a product manager, or you keep watching people without your skills build what you could have built first. An API is a set of functions or procedures allowing the creation of an application to access features of data on an operating system. So basically, each of your hardwares or softwares has a set of data. So let's use Follow Up Boss. We've got name, address, phone number, last name, notes, all this stuff. An API key is all that data is in a database. Let's just call it an Excel spreadsheet. An API key is just the channel, the map to where that data is. So we get an API key from, let's say, Follow Up Boss, and we share it with another software, and the two softwares can talk back and forth. So now all of a sudden, one software can push data in, and one software can pull data. So one of the API keys is like a drip campaign or whatever, first name, last name. So I can pull that, I can push and pull with what we call an API key. The technical term is application programming interface, right? So it's just an interface between one piece of software and another piece of software, or one website and another website. If you go into Asana and you go into settings and you go into API, Asana will give you an API key. So you could go into Claude and say, okay, I want you to go into my Asana and look at everything that's in my Asana and tell me what's due or what have you. I'll give you a better example. My YouTube. So YouTube has an API key. And that API key gives me all of the data for everything in YouTube. So this is the video. This is how many impressions the video got, how many views the video got, how many comments the video got, each comment, so on and so forth. I told my Claude, I said, I want you to analyze my YouTube. And so Claude says, okay, give me the API key so I can see everything. So I created an API key in YouTube and I synced it. And then now I have a huge dashboard on everything that's happening in my YouTube. And just so you know, there's going to be a technical term that you're going to see as you start working in Claude, and that's going to be MCP. And MCP is called a Model Context Protocol. It's basically open source standard that allows AI models to connect to other data tools. So MCP is what gives them the ability to connect to the API. So it securely connects external data tools to software applications, and it acts as a bridge between the two. So you may see when you're working in Claude that like, okay, we have to activate an MCP server for you. And it's going to say, you're going to need to do this and download this on your computer and open this up on terminal. And there's going to be some complicated. Visual Basic is a tool that allows us to see code. And when it's writing it, it's not showing you what it's doing. But if I have Visual Basic, I can see exactly what it's doing. I'm not reading or writing any code. I studied code. I can read and write HTML, which is useless now. I'm a certified Agile product owner and product manager. When I worked for Fiserv, I ran a team of developers. They're called stories. I can tell stories on how to build software and manage them, but I can't write code. So I ran a team of 2,000 developers, but I can't write a lick of code. I'm managing Claude. And the Agile framework is the most beautiful framework for Claude. In the old days, I would try to explain to a developer. So when you log on to somebody's website, it's an application and you apply and it pulls your credit and it underwrites your stuff and it asks you for documents and it gives you an approval. And in the old days, I would have to try to explain to a programmer exactly what it needs to do. And a programmer doesn't understand what a loan application or a FICO score is. Does that make sense? The new form of coding is called Agile. And instead of telling them what it needs to do, I just tell a story. I said, well, I want somebody to be able to go online and see an application that has all of these fields in it. And when they fill out that application, it goes and it does this. And then after it does this, it gives back these results. And this is how it gets. So I tell a story, and my programmer learns through this Agile framework how to write the code. He doesn't have to understand it. He can still build it. If you talk to AI exactly like an Agile framework, guys can be like, oh, okay, I understand. I got you. But that's exactly how I did the website. So I said, here's what I want. I want to do this. This is what I want to build. And so I started with, I said, I want you to research this. And I want you to look at these websites. I want you to research best use scenario. And I want you to understand all of the keywords in this genre as an author and as a coach and as a speaker that specializes in motivation and habits and time management. And then I told it, I'm like, here's my origin story. And I talked to Claude for 30 minutes. And I told it, this is me losing everything and attempting suicide and going to Nepal and doing it. Like I told it my whole origin story. So it completely understood how to make my bio and how to sell my public speaking, how to talk about who I am and know my persona. And it'll be like, oh, I noticed you said this here. Why didn't you use this story? This story is so amazing for you. I didn't even think about that. So every one of them's different, and I can, like you and I could do it really, really quickly. So first of all, make sure that you can talk to Claude. So when you open up Claude, you'll see a little microphone. Make sure that the microphone's working and test it, right? So I have multiple microphones and it doesn't always work right, and I test it. And then once I get it, I'm like, here's what I want to do. And here's what I'm trying to design. Here's what I want to build. So I just start talking to Claude. And then this is the best way for you. I tell it exactly what I want. And then I say, do me a favor, before we do anything, before we write any code, I want you to ask me every possible question you could have on this. And then Claude asked me, so for my personal website, it probably asked me 100 questions. And I finished answering all the questions at 9 o'clock. I'm like, okay, that's the last question. I have to go to bed. Like, and don't forget, it's an AI, it's intelligent. It's arguably more intelligent than you and I. Think about 10 versions from then. The current version wrote the next version. People aren't writing AI anymore. AI is writing AI now. So it answered all these questions, and then it built the website, my personal website, while I was sleeping. When I woke up, didn't look like what it looks like now. There was no video, there were no images. The content was there and the structure was there. And I was like, okay, it looks really AI. And Claude's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, it looks really, really linear. And it doesn't look user-friendly, and it doesn't look like a human wrote it. It looks like an AI wrote it. And Claude goes, oh, okay. And so I said, hey, research, what skills do you have available to you that could make this look better? And it says, oh, there's a skill called front-end design. And front-end design will make it look a lot better. And I'm like, oh, let's use front-end design. And Claude's like, okay, we can do that. I don't. I just tell it what I want. I can take screenshots of anything I want. I can add any images that I want. I can tell it where I want it. I don't use Wix. I don't use WordPress. I don't use anything. And if it's not working, I can say start over or change that to this. The website doesn't disappear. My website is being hosted through Vercel. Yeah, so I told Claude, what's the best way to host this? I have a virtual private server. And Claude's like, well, if we want to be able to do live releases and updates and blog posts, and you want me to be able to automate it all, one of the best ways. So this is called GitHub. It's a repository for content. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. All of these repositories that I have are private. So I'm the only one that can see it, myself and Claude. So it's literally the entire repository for my website. It's all of the code. It's everything that's on my website as a backup. Does that make sense? So it's literally everything. So if I go here to Aaron Chua, this is everything that's there. If I go to Claude, I go to Public, I go to Arc, it's every little piece of content that's on my website. I could publish this through any number of different ways, and it would create the exact website that I have. So this is the website in code form, the finished product. Claude created this, right? Every time I change this, Vercel pays attention and watches me. So if I go here to Vercel and I stay on here and I go to deployments, you're going to see that the last time I changed anything on aaronchua.com was 2 days ago. Every time I make a change, it's a new deployment. So I added spam protection to the strategy session here. So this one, I used the phone number text attribute instead of SMS. I told it what I wanted, and then Claude matched it. Go living in Cabo guide. This was me making the guide. This is it doing that. This tells you exactly what I did at this point. I don't understand code. So let me be crystal clear. I use GitHub prior to last week because when I'm building, so I learned that I can go to GitHub and I can search for certain things. Now you have to be careful, like public stuff on GitHub could have been programmed by anybody. So that's why all of my stuff's private. I could have a private repository for myself until I built that first website last week, right? And I had never heard of Vercel before last week. The only reason I know about Vercel is because Claude uploaded my website with Vercel without telling me, right? Because I have a virtual private server that's hosted somewhere where normally I have to give it a root name and password so it can upload onto my server, and my server hosts it. Now I don't host it in a couple of months. I won't need that server anymore at all.